Welcome to the Kit Car History File series, where we'll be going through the industry's past. We'll be visiting old marks of long ago, some modern ones, some mostly older stuff. A lot of archive information with photographs and information on the cars they made, the people involved, and what happened to them. Hello, welcome to the Total Kit Car History File series. My name's Steve Hull, editor of TKC Mag and TotalKitCar.com. And here we go with another episode. This time we're going to look at one of the few manufacturers ever to kit car manufacturers to be based in Wales, and it was a delightful little one. Didn't get the success that they deserved, but it's along with Gilban and of course the marvellous Davrian operation, and indeed still Davrian through Tim Duffy. This company was called Reflex. Reflex cars. But before that, I just thank you for coming on and listening, and I'm hoping you're enjoying this series, which we do try to be professional, but forgive me if we don't come across that way. It's a little bit huff and puff. I'm not trained on voiceovers or anything like that. I am trained in the world of kit cars from a very young age, so I'm hoping that my passion for the subject overcomes the rubbish voiceover. So do forgive me, but I hope it doesn't detract from your enjoyment. It's just a passion we have, really. So let's hope we can continue to entertain you. Going back to this series, this one's on a company called Reflex, a very, very, very talented guy, and a chap I used to get on really well with back in the days. Gareth Atkinson. He was a former designer at Davrian, funny enough, mentioning them in Lampeter, and forgive my pronunciation from our Welsh listeners. The later days of Davrian, it has to be said, but he still worked at Davrian. He then got himself an engineering diploma at the Royal Aircraft Establishment before he moved first to Ford at Dunton Green, and then to a spell in the Royal Navy, actually. So he's got a very good pedigree as Gareth. And then he decided he fancied using to build his own cars again. He got back into cars. 1986 came an absolutely delightful two-seater, obviously inspired by his time at Davrian, based on Lancia Beta. At the time, they weren't quite as rare as they are now. Massively underrated project, based on Lancia, as I said. Featured a monocoque with. He did later revise it to a space frame, but the initial cars were based on a monocoque. Very enthusiastic was Gareth. He showed that car at Stoney. In fact, he came onto the the Kit Cars and Specials magazine stand at Stoney on one of those years, and we had a really good time. And the response to the car was really good. He was always tinkering with it just to make improvements, which is probably something he shouldn't have done. He should have left it and sort of kept it as it was. He had a nagging desire. He didn't think the Lancia 1. I think he liked the Lancia 1. It was for the purists, but he thought that a Ford version would do better. So he did create one. But it did receive some. I mean, we raved about it in Kit Cars and Specials, as did Philby's Witch Kit. I'm sure. Why wouldn't people rave about it? It was a young designer with a good pedigree and a really brave effort, and it was a good brave effort as well. BP even used one, I think. Again, the old grey matter. They had an advert for an unleaded fuel they were doing in the late 80s, 88, 89. And I think you can find that advert on YouTube if you care to search. But it wasn't a complete Reflex. It was half of a body shell. But he still had an appearance on an international advert. Gareth moved on after a while. He lasted into about 89, and then he moved on to do other things. And a Preston company in Lancashire, run by Rob Beardshaw and Graham Seed. They sold a couple more, primarily the Ford, but sadly it disappeared. That company disappeared. that enterprise, and Gareth returned in 1992 for a brief time, although that didn't really last long, and once again he was off doing other things. We'll come back to other things shortly. The moulds then turned up. All of a sudden they appeared in 1998. A chap called Alistair Rigby, based in Newcastle upon Tyne, he was intending to put it back into production, but nothing ever came of that either. But more on Gareth. He did some design work for on a freelance basis for various companies, various commissions. He also got a very interesting job working for, I believe, an Arab sheikh with an extensive car collection. And Gareth's job was to not only be the kind of the collections curator and maintainer indeed, but he'd go around the world to various car auctions, notable car auctions, buying stock basically, I think. And I talk to Gareth from time to time, but I haven't spoken to him for a very long time. Last I saw of Gareth was on the Dragon's Den programme about 10 years ago, about 2013, I think, 14, something like that. By that time, he'd got back into the mainstream motoring world, and he was working in the design departments. I think he did a spell at Audi and a spell at BMW. And he appeared on the 7th series in an episode of Dragon's Den, and he came up with a typically innovative, put my teeth in, fold-up car trailer, which was really quite clever. Looked like he was going to get some funding. Didn't make it at the very last minute. They all declared they were out, but I think he was close to a couple of yeses there. Last I saw of him after that, so I hope he's doing well, and I'm sure he is. In total, we believe around about 10 Reflexes were sold, 9 of them being the Lancia beta-based version, with just a single Ford-based example hitting the road, which I think might have been that red car in the photos to accompany this audio file. And that's about it for this time. Short but sweet. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got this far and you're still listening, there's a chance you did quite enjoy it. So if you could be kindly, please, if you haven't already done so, it is free, subscribe to the channel, as well as that of our collaborator on this series, Neil Winnington's Enwin's Motors channel. If you could head over there and give him a subscription as well, that'd be great. And if you could also hit the thumbs up button, that helps the algorithm on the channel, which I'm told is very important. So thank you very much for listening, wherever you are in the world, and continue to binge on the rest of the series we've been putting up every couple of weeks. Some quite sort of eclectic mix of cars there, but we're hoping you're enjoying them. Until next time, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.